Video game franchises die for many reasons. The most common ends up being poor sales. The ATV Offroad Fury series did fall victim to this as well. Each game dwindled in sales until you get to the 4th title where it sold so poorly I couldn't even find estimated sales numbers. Poor sales, however, do not mean a bad game, as Sony and Climax Racing went out with a bang. This is the Emotion Engine Enduro, where we play every PlayStation 2 racing game and rate them on a scale from 0 to 100. My name is Cass, and this is ATV Offroad Fury 4.
The pure joy of racing had always been everything to me, but I'd already lost sight of all of that and became purely focused on the fame and the money.
ATV Offroad Fury 4 is the 4th and last entry in a Sony-published line of off-road racers. It was released in tandem with ATV Offroad Fury Pro, which is basically the PSP port of this game with some changes here and there. Both 4 and Pro released in 2006 in North America, but would not see a PAL release until 2008. It was developed by Climax Racing, who also developed ATV Offroad Fury 3. However, on startup, I do also see San Diego Studio mentioned, so I'm not sure what role they played in its creation. In the ATV Offroad Fury series, you would have expected the biggest shift in tone and content to come in the 3rd title. That was when Sony switched dev teams from Rainbow Studios to Climax Racing. But oh, how wrong would you be? That big tonal shift actually happens in this game. This game also happens to be the most feature-rich and the most content-packed out of all of them. The biggest change you will notice is how the career mode is structured. No longer will you just find a series of championships, but a whole story-based career mode. Yes, this game has a story with cutscenes. They may not be particularly great, but they are a welcome change of pace, as games like this generally don't have any kind of story at all. At the start of the story, you're tasked with proving yourself to your team by winning a couple amateur championships. These work just like any other ATV Offroad Fury game, or most other racing games in general. Do 5 races, get the most points, win. When selecting a championship, you're going to notice the other new big addition to this game, and that's all the new vehicle types. Not only will you have the ATVs like normal, you'll have MX bikes, trucks, and buggies. MX bikes and ATVs will be available for certain championships, trucks and buggies will be available for others. All the AI you race will be matched to the vehicle type in most races, except for one race type that I will talk about a little later. Quick sidebar about the AI, there's actually a rival system in the game. After a few races in a championship, you'll develop a rivalry with certain drivers in that series. If you bump into them, their logo will turn yellow and then orange and then red, and they'll try to run you off the road. Not many games had this back in this era except the NASCAR games, but here we are, ATV Offroad Fury 4 has a rival system. All of these vehicle types will have quite a bit of customization too. There's engine parts, suspension, tires, transmission, and even body parts that are just visual but can add a nice bit of spice to your vehicle. You also can change the colors and even add stickers. Climax did a great job of expanding and greatly improved on customization that they introduced in the previous title. Handling wise for these vehicles, Climax Racing actually seemed to walk back the more arcadey feel that they introduced in Offroad Fury 3. Quads no longer launch themselves this far, and you do have to land them properly or you will bail off. MX bikes feel notably different while still being pretty easy to pick up. Trucks feel heavy and pretty slidey, while the buggies are a lot grippier, but they don't have as much power. All the vehicles are pretty easy to pick up, but they do take a lot of time to get the most out of them. Suspension preloading does also return from prior ATV Offroad Fury titles. This is where you pull the left stick back at the bottom of a ramp and flick it forward at the top to get more air. This can also help you bridge rhythm sections and be really fast on the MX bikes and quads. The trucks and buggies don't have this feature, so if you do have trouble getting this down, you can actually just drive the trucks and the buggies the whole time and still progress to the career mode. While I do like all the new vehicle additions overall, I do take one issue with their addition, and that is I cannot shake the fact that I feel like this is a knee-jerk reaction to another off-road racing series. In 2004, Rainbow Studios, who were the developers of Fury 1 and 2, would release MX Unleashed. This was followed up a year later in 2005 with MX vs ATV Unleashed. This was the first real competition that ATV Offroad Fury had, and that series hit the ground running so hard that it still stands today, with MX Legends being the latest title and even getting DLC fairly recently. With this series having dwindling sales with each game that came out, and MX vs ATV Unleashed having not only great sales but great critical response, honestly, I don't blame them from taking inspiration from those series, and I do ultimately think this game was better for it. Jumping back into the career mode, most of the race types you will see are returning from previous Fury titles. For ATVs and MX bikes, there's Outdoor Nationals, Indoor Supercross, and Freestyle. Unlike previous titles, there are no big open world spaces available. I do ultimately see these environments not being here as a positive, as the novelty of exploring them really would have worn off by 2006 because there were a lot of dedicated open world games at this point. They also dramatically increased the load times of all the nationals and all the freestyle events. I also didn't particularly care for the enduro events themselves, so them not being here at all, kind of see it as a positive. Freestyle is a little bit simplified this time around as well. There are no targets to get and there's no combo challenges. Just score as many points as you can. It will be a set number of points, but for championship's sake, you're not competing against a whole bunch of other AI. So if you don't hit the target score for first, you can still get second, third, or fourth to score a respective amount of points. Editor Cast throwing in a little something I almost forgot about until I was watching the gameplay back. You do actually unlock sponsored challenges, which will help boost your money that you earn during each race. In these, you do have the potential of doing a head-to-head challenge. This is basically like a super special stage where you on either an ATV or a bike race another ATV or bike. These are super cool, and it's a little weird that they did kind of confine these to sponsor challenges, but I am glad they're here and they are super fun. For trucks and buggies, you'll have a different set of outdoor nationals and rallycross. The truck nationals are basically the same as normal nationals, but they're flatter and the jumps are more designed for the big, heavier vehicles. Rallycross is very similar to the outdoor nationals, but part of it is going to take place on road. Unfortunately for Rallycross, the trucks and buggies feel really bad on road. I don't think their physics are spectacular anywhere, but they do feel particularly bad on road, so I strongly preferred the truck nationals over the Rallycross. You'll also notice Circuit available. Circuit is basically nationals, but you can choose either the light ATV or MX bikes or the heavy buggies or trucks. They'll give you either as an option. After you win at least 2 of the championships, you will then start racing for Team Fury and head on a world tour. The tour will take you to different continents. You will then do at least 3 races at every stop. Once your 3 events are done, you can then select Continue Story, where you'll get some more cutscenes, some lore, and you will also see that last event type I was talking about that is also the most ambitious that the series has ever tried to do. Fury 4 includes Baja style racing, long multi-stage point-to-point races. You will have 3 stages at each continent, and you'll need to move up the ranking as you go. Available is any vehicle, and every vehicle will race together on track. You are not just limited to one vehicle type by the AI. Much like real-life Baja-style events, there are different routes for bikes and for trucks. MX bikes and ATVs are meant to take the red path, and the green path is the standard one, which is mainly meant for trucks and buggies, but the MX bikes and ATVs are also kind of meant to take it if it's connecting. The downside here is that there's nothing really stopping you from taking a buggy down the bike path or a bike down the buggy path, so it does take out a bit of the risk reward from the vehicle selection. All the stages I drove in the point-to-point races were very diverse, yet they seemed to fit the theme of the continent you were on. They were also shockingly long and had a ton of stuff to see as you went through. This game mode is not only so well crafted that I think it could have been a game by itself, but I also think it's better than the Baja 1000 game that came out in 2008 on the 360 and PS3. Genuinely, if you play this game, this is the game mode that y'all really have to try out, seriously. It is fantastic and just has so much more effort put into it than I thought it would. One small feature they added that I did not expect at all was a photo mode. The only other game on the PS2 I can even think of that has one is Gran Turismo 4, so super awesome to see they included one here as well. There was one more new feature introduced into this game that I really needed to talk about, and that's the new track builder. Replacing the waypoint editor from the previous 3 titles is a new dedicated stadium where you can build your own tracks. You can place the whoops, place the jumps, place berms, place props. It is awesome. This is 500 times better than the waypoint editor ever was, and you can really let your mind run wild with creativity in this. Or you can be a child like I was. Your call. ATV Offroad Fury 4 was the only title in the series I have never played in any capacity before my review. I assumed it was just going to be another evolution of the series, but was actually greeted with a revolution. A game that's the most unique in the series, yet does the series justice all at the same time. I am giving ATV Offroad Fury 4 an 85 out of 100. With a great diversity in vehicles, environments, and race types, as well as fun to drive physics, the game just left me wanting to come back for more. I was not expecting this to be the ATV Fury title I enjoyed the most, but I am leaving it with no notes. Thank you all so much for watching the Emotion Engine Enduro episode 12. Fury 4 goes right to the top of the list right above Fury 2. After all 4 Fury titles, it seems that the 2 Climax games on average scored higher than the 2 Rainbow games, and I did not expect that with how much I love Fury 2. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so y'all don't miss out when each review drops, as well as when we live stream each one of these games, which we also do over at twitch.tv/COisNOTpog. Next time, we'll have Climax's first PS2 ATV game with the acclaim published ATV Quad Power Racing 2.